I'm taking on my biggest ever project and producing the biggest update Gran Turismo 7 will ever receive. Say hello to Gran Turismo 7 Redux. But before I get into the details on this absolute titan of a project, I am trying to get this channel to 60,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So if you want to stay up to date with the project and everything Gran Turismo motorsport gaming related, then feel free to leave a like, subscribe and turn those notifications on. Anyway, let's get to it. So let's begin with what will be the first of many chapters in this video, going through what this update project is, what it aims to do and much more. Beginning with the first chapter, what is Gran Turismo 7 Redux? Gran Turismo 7 Redux is a personal update project for GT7 which aims to act as a full overhaul to the single player and career portion of the game, almost like a complete overhaul mod without the need of a PC, actual modification of the game, or really anything along those lines. Now Redux will use only in-game tools to transform GT7 into the game it was always promised to be, as well as taking advantage of all the features in-game, making this project the ultimate version of GT7 single player. Now the entire project began last Friday when I logged into GT7, checked the weekly races and saw there was almost no effort being put into the game at this point, and this led me to take things into my own hands. Now this project will aim to add structure to the single player, taking players through a much more structured system from grassroots road cars all the way to Group 1 and Formula cars by the end. It will also aim to improve all existing events to be bigger, better and more logical, as well as add key features such as special events, manufacturers events and endurance racing, as well as also add new fantasy menu books, allowing almost all cars and tracks in the game to have a worthwhile use. Now this entire project will be split into video projects as I transform each section of the game part by myself, as well as a full written guide for everyone by the end of this project, which anyone will be able to read through from start to finish as a kind of handbook to be able to copy down every single setting and basically lay out their Gran Turismo 7 in a way that it gives them a much better overall single player and career mode experience, starting from, the beginning to the end. So hopefully with this section you now have a decent enough understanding and a brief overview of exactly what GT7 Redux is and really what it aims to do. The next thing that you may be wondering is how exactly does Redux work? Well, Redux will simply use pre-existing tools inside of GT7 and utilize them to improve events, add events and transform the game. Now the main tools of choice will be custom racers and Sophie AI when possible. Now each event will have an in-depth guide, so say for example it might be a set roster of cars to use, PP limits for players to stick to, tyre compounds and of course much more. However, it will also have a more basic setting for players which may not have the credits or cars spare to use, but every detail on how to achieve this will be written up in the guide for everyone to choose the more in-depth or basic setting. This way anyone can go ahead and just use these settings for a much more expanded and enjoyable time. Now by using these tools I'm able to recreate events, so take this first Sunday Cup race for example. Now I've taken the basic format of the event into a custom race, then used these settings to improve, enhance and make the event bigger and more enjoyable, whilst maintaining the Sunday Cup feeling. And here is an example of how the in-depth versus basic setting will work. So of course some of the work will be down to the player to stick to written PP limits, tyres and such to keep the original design there, as well as some settings being universal for some of the series. This will allow them to easily be input, saved and then just carried over to the next event along your journey. So now you know exactly what Redux is, how it's going to work, we of course next need to talk about the main meat of this project, Redux Career Mode. Now when it comes to Redux Career Mode, it is going to include all pre-existing events that are already in GT7. However, it's going to add more logic and more structure to them. So the aim for the career mode is to start you off from the beginning in grassroots racing and stuff like the Sunday Cup and such, and then move you through different tiers of motorsport until you get to the peak, which is of course the likes of endurance racing, formula racing and of course rally. That will be the main aim, to give people a proper structured career mode instead of feeling like they're just going from menu book to menu book doing a checklist. Now of course if we take for example the Sunday Sunday Cup where you'll be beginning, this will be then built and expanded upon. So all of the pre-existing events will still be there, they'll just be bigger and better, and I'll probably expand the existing 7 events to probably around about 10, adding in some of the tracks that might not get a use and of course feel like they fit the overall theme of a Sunday Cup. So all of these pre-existing events that are already in game will not only be bigger in terms of their pre-existing events, I'll also add some fantasy ones in there for players to go through. Now because I'm adding structure, I'm going to take inspiration from Gran Turismo games of old, so things such as the GT League, which show you starting out with the beginner, then the amateur, so on and so forth, until you reach the main meat of it, and of course the pinnacle of racing motorsport. And that's the system that I'm going to have in place. So alongside these different beginner events, so that's where you're going to be starting, I'll also be adding in some kind of menu book styles that I thought up along the way that feel a good fit for that portion of the career mode. Again, giving you guys more custom races to enjoy as you work your way from bit to bit. So that in reality will be the main meat, of course, of the Redux career mode, but there will be more. Now another thing I'm aiming to do is to of course add in special manufacturer one make events, and again using the custom race feature, this is exactly what I can do. Now depending on of course the speed of the car and type of car, they'll probably pop in at different portions of the career, so say for beginner, amateur, expert, so on and so forth. So again, if you're doing a slower one make, that might be added in the beginner portion of the guide. Again, this is something that I really enjoyed in Gran Turismo 2 was the manufacturer events, so that is something that I really want to try and bring into these custom races. And of course to finish off, I can't really not talk about special events. I have a bunch of cool little challenge special events already planned up, and again this is something that I want to implement as we sort of go through this entire career mode as well. So it might be things such as set weather, your set starting position, maybe you're in a slower car and you've got to fend off faster machines, and of course it hit that target place, and yeah, overall it just allows me to really play around with the custom race feature there. So just a quick recap, the main things that we'll be building upon in this Redux is of course the main pre-existing events and the pre-existing menu books. I'll be building in some fantasy ones that kind of fit the bill through each section of that career mode, manufacturer events, and of course special events, and these will be rinsed and repeat as you kind of progress through. And again, you'll be starting off from the more kind of road going daily drivers, and then kind of going through the faster cars to some of the faster menu books, performance cars, hypercars, and of course racing cars towards the end of it. Like I said, really the easiest way to kind of picture all of this is just think about the Gran Turismo games of old and how the GT League used to work. Now of course the next thing you may be wondering is when will it be finished? Now I aim to finish the project in around about a year to a complete feeling standard, with room to expand if I see fit over time. Now this will be when I make the project guide available to everybody, which will provide everything such as PP limits, tyres, weather, player starting position and more. However, I do aim to provide the video formats for all of the menu books, special events and more along the way. So I'll be doing those in video format from time to time. This way you can just go ahead and copy it section by section if you want to go ahead and try it out before the full guide's available. But definitely in terms of getting it to a finished standard will probably take me around a year or so, and in terms of course the guide itself, it'll just be a full digital thing. So what I'm doing currently is writing up the Google document, making it look presentable, but of course doing it from start to finish. So what I'll do is once that's ready, it will then be shareable, so you can just go ahead, click it, and then just read through it as you kind of progress through the career mode yourself. That way it's the best way possible, and of course I can just then go back and edit it if I want to add new things to it. But in terms of a finished standard for that written guide, again probably around about a year. Okay, so last Friday when I put the teaser up on YouTube and of course in my Discord, one of the main questions I was asked was, can the community help with this? And honestly, absolutely. In terms of the written guide though, of course this is something that I've got to kind of do on my own to get in a kind of way that I want it to be. But in terms of putting ideas forward for things such as manufacturer races, special events and more, then of course the community's help is always welcome, and again it will kind of take a lot of the strain off of me. But in terms of those kind of, I guess, things being put forward, people that have been around the channel for a long time, people like channel members, of course those that I notice donate on a regular basis, this, and those that are heavily involved with stuff like my racing league and such will of course be given priority to sort of give back to them, so they get their say in this big project first over anyone else. This way I'm kind of, you know, giving back for those that have given me their time over the years, allowing them to put their ideas forward and of course get those featured much quicker than, you know, the people that might just jump on this and then kind of want to have their own say on it. So to cut things short, can the community help? Absolutely. Now of course they can't help with writing up the guide because that's something I've got to do, but in terms of putting those ideas forward, 100%. The more the merrier, but again I'm going to prioritize those that have been with me for a while than those that are kind of just jumping on board last second. So let's conclude then. Gran Turismo 7 Redux. What is it? Well, basically a full overhaul to GT7 single player using features that are already present in game. Of course, custom racers and Sophie AI. It will then be put into a full guidebook which will carry you from start to finish through my vision of Gran Turismo and what I feel a lot of people feel like GT7 is really missing. Proper structure and of course a start goal and an end goal to achieve. Now again, when it comes to this I guess video, I just wanted it to be a brief announcement, a brief overview of exactly what it is and exactly what I'm doing here, without kind of giving away too much as to what I have exactly planned in terms of stuff like special event and of course manufacturer events and expanding and such. So overall it's just more of an announcement. If you want to follow the progress of this, of course I'll be making videos on it, as well as probably doing some live streams when it comes to the testing phase, so that you guys can kind of get in and see the whole process of writing up this guide and such. So again, in terms of the main meat of this project, it will probably not be available for another year, but if you do want to follow it step by step, of course you can through video and of course live stream format. So again, a huge thank you to everybody that showed a lot of interest in the teasers and such on my Discord or YouTube, and those that have pushed me to actually go ahead and finally do this project. It's something that I've been waiting to do for a very long time, and honestly I think I just kind of needed GT7 to hit that massive low point so I could then just go ahead and kind of put that brilliance out there as to what GT7 is really like when you know the thought and consideration is put into it to really unlock all of its potential and show off exactly what this game can really do. Anyway, huge thank you to you all. I'll see you in the next one. Take care guys. Peace.